Ladies and gentlemen, the second panel is going to be sharing thoughts on powerful marketing strategy, a key to success. And now is the time to delve into their marketing insights. So I would now leave it to our session chair to kindly get the conversations flowing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the great introduction and the warm welcome. And actually, I completely agree. What a panel. In terms of the roles they are in, which is from marketing to actually running business to even founders, to the kind of businesses that we were discussing. We're very, very different. And I think we were thinking, how do we string it together? And then we thought, why string it together? I think different opinions make it a little more spicy conversation. And that's how we'll try to keep it. And everyone from Suman, Amit, Udita, Prashant, Raghav, and Ravi have promised me that that's how it will be. We will keep it free-flowing. Now, from TV to smartwatches to now overall marketing strategy. I think marketing strategy is an interesting topic because different opinions, different point of views. We are talking about different eras. I have my point of view, everyone else has their point of view, and that's what we'll try to unearth and end at. But just to begin with, I want to just put a question out there to all of you, and then I'll keep naming each one, and you guys can get your answers there. But when it comes to tough times, when it comes to reduction or business impact, is marketing the first function to get impacted? Is that a reality? If yes, why? If not, why? And that is my first question. Impact on business, does that result in impact on marketing? And my first question possibly to you, Suman.
Okay. I think the way I would want to answer this question is that I've spent my lifetime working in an ad agency, and then when I shifted to marketing, it was just when COVID happened, which is in 2020. And the first thought that came to my mind was, khatam. Ab to brand budgets are gone. But you know, I work for a medicine division, so there are three things that I take care of. One is OTC medicines, prescriptive medicines, and I have a wellness center, which is the clinic. And lo and behold, the first thing that happened was all marketing budgets stayed intact, because this was a wonderful time when people were staying locked in their house to be able to tell a brand story, and in a medium which was never explored by Hamdard, right? So we are perhaps the last of the Mohicans to have entered the digital space. And the fun that we had in being able to communicate, to tell the story, to take risks and take chances in being able to reach out to people about the power of natural products, I think the time was ripe. So brand budgets for me never got cut, even in the most difficult times. And I think it was also the time when, you know, the sales never got impacted. So I think all of us have seen how Dabur made 400 times more money on Chyawanprash, which they made it a 365-day product rather than it being a winter product. So I think, you know, it's the intent that one has to really look at, because we were not spending money on television, and I'm sure if we did, our brand budgets would have got cut. But for us, it was an entry into a medium which I think today one can't live without.
Interesting, and you're right. You're talking about also a category at that point of time.
Yes, which was so relevant.
Which is fantastic. Right? So that's one perspective, right? We're talking about a category which is FMCG, right? And at that point of time, so much more relevant. Completely different category. Udita,
I think I'm also talking about health.
Yep.
So when you're talking about health, you're talking about medicines which are not going to have side effects. And that was the time when Mr. Modi went and said, consume kada.
Yeah.
So kada became even a millennial magic sauce. So, you know, come to think of it, the first one to reject anything in your house are the youngsters. But that's where, you know, acceptability of natural products started happening. So I think I was lucky I've not seen that. So I think as a marketer, it would hurt me to now see if my brand budgets get cut.
Interesting, interesting. Udita, to you now. You are a founder of a business, 6 years old,
Yes.
resides on digital. Of course, there is a marketing side to it that you look into. There is also a business side to it that you look into. Your view on business getting impacted and
And
having an impact on marketing.
So yes, rightly said, we are a 100% D2C brand. And for us, communicating digitally to our consumer continuously is very, very important. And that is how we were born, and that is how we survive today. And to come to your question, tough times, how the marketing spend gets impacted. So the top of the funnel, I would say, top of the funnel marketing spend is something that we would hold on to, but the bottom, you continue to spend. So for us, like, sales are directly linked to our digital communication, our digital presence, how often and continuously we keep talking to our consumers. So direct marketing cut, I wouldn't say that is what we would do, but top of the funnel spend is something that we would control. So, and I think content today, when we are talking about marketing spend, if the content is correct and we keep putting it across at the right channel, consumer listens to you. So, which channel you would cut the marketing spend is something that is important, but not all channels you would cut the marketing spend.
Also, a very interesting perspective, and why I say that is because you know, we've always said marketing is a slow burner. It's not. Not everything in marketing is a slow burner. Like you said, there are so many things which have immediate impact, and possibly even the slow burner have a huge impact. I am a huge proponent, and no guessing that I come from an advertising agency there. Prashant, to you, you would have a different perspective, right? You're talking about activating brands. You're talking about bringing brands alive in different ways and means. Your take on business versus marketing, tough times calling for a different perspective to marketing, or a different or a cut to marketing. Your take there.
So Amit, so last year we worked with 450 brands, different categories. Okay? And for every category, the response has been very different vis-a-vis the market. Okay? So as Udita said, this whole thing on top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel is one approach, where if you look at large FMCG brands are still not there, but if you look at financial services and if you look at consumer durable, where the 70-80% spends are going there, the middle and bottom of the funnel, those are not getting impacted as much by any scenario because it's directly linked to sales. Okay. Now for top of the funnel also, it is the scenario is very simple. When the market is good going, the sentiment is there, the whole advertising theory of which 50% of money goes waste, I don't know which 50%. So that is linked to sentiment. The other part is really linked to sale. So my whole experience has been there are certain brands which want, and we are part of Hunasa Group, the Mamaearth brand. I think what we hear over here was we doubled down spends in the tough times of COVID, because we said that we could impact sale maximum at that point of time. So marketing spend getting impacted in a linear world when we all used to operate, and when I was in Pepsi, I can tell you it was impacted. Now marketing and sales are interlinked in multiple places. So it doesn't get as impacted as it used to be. The pressure in tough times are about efficiencies. How can you build in more efficiencies? So early days you would possibly run 1,800 GRP, you could then run 600. But here the efficiency is how do you get more bang for the buck? And therefore you start spending more on, like we said, the science around content, influencer marketing, word of mouth marketing, going down to stuff like Quora marketing. You got those kind of stuff in tough times, and big times, of course, your digital video commercial to everything that you could do.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with how marketing's changed over time, and that's why it's becoming far more effective, and we are not thinking about reduction immediately. Amit, your view on it, and then we'll probably get Raghav and Ravi to also get on a different question that I'll put across to you.
So we Apis India, we are the brand which is not very old, and we really invested in marketing. So the time was always tough for us when we went into this segment, and we always thought the marketing is the key to form a brand. And that's the reason we were around celebrities, we were spending, even our bottom line was totally stretched, we were in negative, but we were really standing on brand and on marketing to build a brand. So I believe perspective is that whenever you want to build a brand, you have to rely on marketing. Even if it's tough times, you have to keep going. So in good times, of course, you're doing and you have to again do that. But for distribution purpose, for make people aware of your product and reminder, everything, the marketing is important. So my perspective is that one should keep spending on marketing in bad times. And it's not something which will fade away. You have to make your presence felt and reminded people that you are there, and especially brand like us, which are not very old. Unlike, I'm sure Suman, having Hamdrat, she's sitting on a legacy. So she can still think of, but we have to put always a brand into mind of people and keep growing. So this is what my take would be.
Interesting, and really,
So I'd like to just add to what
Please do.
Amit just said. While ours is a legacy brand, it's 116 years old, the challenge there is also of a different order. You have a set of consumers who've stayed loyal with you for years and years and years. But, dil mange more. You want to reach out to the younger audiences, and therefore the effort of repositioning the brands without changing and tilting too much of the brand ethos is a bigger challenge. And therefore, it's a tightrope walk. And I agree with you that while brand budgets don't get cut for us, even in the toughest of times, but you have to be a lot more innovative, because you really want to reach out and send out the brand purpose message in a bigger way, rather than, just coming out with some kind of a communication and moving on. So I'll talk about it a little later when we go. And those are interesting things.
I agree, Suman. I definitely agree to keep a brand going. That's what I told. It is important. Thanks.
interesting. So Raghav, to you. Again, for you, it's a different business, right? It is a different take. From your perspective, what are the key ingredients of a sound marketing strategy? Now you're looking at it from your own business and at the same time building your brand. What would be the key aspect, or any example that you want to cite?
First of all, Amit, I think by the end of this session, I'll stop answering to my real name, which is Raghu, and start answering to Raghav, which is the new name you gave me.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
sorry. Yeah.
So when times are tough, when something of an external nature is affecting the business as a whole or the industry as a whole, yes, the marketing spends do come under scrutiny, but they ideally shouldn't. If you are reducing your marketing spend in those times, that's like that works as a catalyst to the already bad conditions. We worked the other way around. Right after the COVID lockdown was lifted, first one, we went gaga on our marketing spends, because everybody else was not spending, and they were like holding it. They were not expecting the market to grow, and we, on the other hand, went ahead and spent a lot on marketing that time. That worked wonders for us. So marketing is more about being visible, every day, every time a customer is there in whichever medium, being visible there, and less about sales. Sales at the end of the day depends on it, but we have to stay visible. So reducing marketing spends shouldn't be a choice, but if at all it comes to it, I mean, one can't really help it.
No, it's heartening to hear, and it's a very strong and a good perspective and a long-term perspective. Ravi, your view, what would it's a different business for you, but what is your take? What would be the big thing for you? as far as marketing strategy is concerned?
For me, like we are coming from a different background. We are in the stock broking. So we have to give answer to our client that why we exist in the market. Like there are so many brokers and everyone is approachable because nowadays, everyone know that a lot of app which is available in the market and you just have to download and you can start trading. So when we do any marketing strategy, then we have to answer a very genuine question that why we exist in the market, right? So we actually have to work for the benefit of the client, and what we do is we make a story around it. We make actual profitable client who are on our platform and actually making profit. We make story around it, and then we make marketing strategy according to that. Like if being a GCL, I am only selling my app and this app is not actually making any change to the customer life,
Correct.
then I believe that we cannot survive for next 5 to 10 years. So for GCL angle, I can say we have to more work on the ground. We have to put ourselves in the research part. Then we can make actual impact. Then we can make a market campaign according to that.
I think I love that point. Because you're talking that substance hona chahiye. The delivery needs to be there.
Exactly.
Only that, then you can talk about it and make it happen, and I think it's fantastic.
Exactly, yeah. So because once we start, selling the fake story, today or tomorrow it will come in the market that these people are not actually making the profit for us, and they are just selling the wrong stories. So we actually, our research part should be very strong.
No amount of marketing can help that.
Actually,
I completely agree with you. Okay, a different pivot, right? Now, we've spoken about marketing and business. A little divergent pivot is that the times have changed, right? The times have changed from traditionally building a brand to building a brand in today's day and age, which is a lot more digital. Suman, you've worked on both sides. You've worked in, that times where brand building was possibly slightly different to now. What has changed and what still remains the same? Love to hear your views on that.
I think what hasn't changed is the effect of a brand on a consumer's mind. So if you already have a big established big brand, you can afford to take chances into experimenting and doing something new. So I think what changed for us, and like I'm saying this again, that Hamdard was not in the digital space till the pandemic happened. So it's 2020 that actually we gave us no other option but to think of doing things out there. So creating a post and hoping for it to be liked was an inane way of living life. Making a small little film and telling a story was yet another inane way of living life. And I think tough times also make you a dreamer, which just helps you to think of doing things that you thought you could do it. And one of the things that we dreamt of doing was that, after those 45 days of being shut indoors, we thought of doing something which was out of the box for us because we didn't have an infrastructural support. We tied up with a third party and we set up a very basic online consultations for patients, and lo and behold, we were surprised at the number of the video consultations that happened that particular month. I think it was about 450 calls that we registered, and that's when the logistics hit us that if they have consulted us, where are they going to get the medicines from? Because markets were still not opening up in a jiffy, so we set up e-commerce platform, and all this was experiment because we didn't even have anyone on board helping us. So, whoever knew whatever little ways of doing things we set up. And then we started seeing that for that a lakh of rupee that we had spent, we had returns of more than 7 lakhs. And that's when you realize that this is a game that everybody is going to understand, appreciate. And we started very small. We started with a clinic being available in the online space. And then, post that, we started doing a lot more in the digital space. We now have an online digital consultation which is available. We are in the e-commerce space. And we do a lot of other work which is in the digital space, but I do a lot of work with publications because I think that they have become more creative than creative agencies, very honestly. Right? And even like while I'm doing that, I also have a TV program with Z Salam we do, which is called Shifa Khana, where we bring our doctors as experts talking to live audiences, and we have an interactive session. We try and give them a solution. We tell them where to look for medicines. And what this has helped us in the last 4 months that we've been running is that it's giving us the ideas of geographies from where people are constantly reaching out to, which helps us with expansion plans in those markets where we can set up our clinics. So, you know, digital for that very inexperienced company, which has only been there for last 2.5 years, the results have been outstanding.
So yeah, so from what I hear you say is that a lot has changed,
Yes, a lot has
but a
changed.
lot also still remains the same.
Of course,
Which is great. Raghu, now let me call it in the right way.
Thanks, Amit.
Urf Raghav. Anyways, Raghu, you know, in your span of time, have you seen the marketing strategy itself changing in your own business? Have you seen with the times changing?
Okay, I'll try to find right words for what I think.
Just hold the mic.
Yeah, okay. So the way I see what the times have changed is earlier, brands before us, like brands like what you represent, they used to quote customers. There was courtship between customer and brands, you know, to actually, they wanted to go to the customer through TV or through storytelling. They were quoting the customer. They were not acquiring the customer per se. There was a beautiful courtship period, you know, which was much longer than what we now have in digital. So that quoting customer has shifted to acquiring customers now.
Oh, nice.
And the actions back then, I guess, were less editable, and there was no undo. We could only pause them, stop them. There was no undo, which we have now in digital. So I think the impact on customers are rather intense, but not long term. We have intense short-term impacts, but the long-term with the large shelf of impacts are still, they are losing their way, which is what I believe.
Interesting, and I like the perspective that you're putting. This is courtship versus
the name
acquiring.
right this time, so.
It's possibly more transactional than.
Yes, so yes.
Interesting. Udita, your view again. Have you seen changes happening? You know, it's a different perspective from your end because you're talking about business which is 6 years old. Have you seen a transition there?
So, I mean, I have two viewpoints here. Firstly, so we are a digital brand, but today, I feel, and this is like from 6 years back to today, I feel India today is way more digital than what it was 6 years back. So clearly there is a shift in the way people are consuming content, where they are through the day and how they're shopping or everything that they're doing. So we weren't possibly purchasing our milk online 6 years back. Today we are, right? So there is a shift in the digital consumption, clearly. And today a consumer is like digitally also, I would say, where are they? They are on their phones. Like we are all on our phones all through the while. So digital consumption has increased, digital channels have changed. So today I would say what you're carrying, your handset is the digital form of communication, digital form of consumption. This digital form of consumption 6 years back was maybe Facebook. Today Facebook is almost redundant, right? So yes, there is, I would say, a shift, and that is like as a digital brand, or I think for that matter any brand, when we talk about digitization of marketing, it's very important for us to just keep a track of what is happening in this segment. As he said it's very volatile. Like it shifts. Like it's evolving, it shifts, and that is where a brand really needs to focus because consumer is shifting very quickly. Having said that, I think if a brand is very clear on the purpose, and this is my second point, if a brand is very clear on the purpose, and that purpose is reflected in your product, in your communication, wherever you're doing that communication, that will hold on to your consumer. So yes, there is a shift, clearly, but there is a base underlying concept that you cannot have a brand, you cannot build a company without a purpose. So when I started True Brown 6 years back, I was very clear I wanted to build an inclusive brand. So we've been size inclusive like from day one. That gave us like a marketing positioning even without very huge marketing spends. So like yes, there is a shift, but there is a base holding point which is very important for any company.
Yeah, I think very true. Purpose is the key. That is the starting point, and if the starting point isn't correct, you can keep moving into whichever roads you probably not reach the destination. So I know I can see the timer and it says it's ticking, but quickly and let's keep it this one short because I want to get perspectives. We talk about digital in one stroke, but digital is far more complex, right? You spoke about how digital itself has changed. But a lot of digital is also used to play up digital. We also don't know how much of it is actual impact and how much of it is a lot of fluff. Your take on it, how much of it is hype and how much of it is real, Prashant?
Yeah, so having built this community for so many years, I think digital is important to build anything, okay? But it is about how you do stuff, okay? So let me give you some examples. Let me give you quick examples, okay? So, right from product build now, you can get consumers to co-create products with you. So for Dettol, we got 500 women through the whole journey of sitting with the R&D team, building the product and launching the product, and with influence, those people also became influencers, launched the product. So you can create product with consumers, okay? So it's not about I'll ask you what you want and therefore I'll deliver. Second level, this whole thing on when you talk to consumers, the model of segmentation has moved to hyper segmentation. So therefore you can build a brand of only urban ethnic wear or a milk basket for only a locality, or you can build only an Amazon brand called Boat, okay? You can build that because this whole thing on hyper segmentation, you can find the hyper segment and you go deep, is possible only because of digital, because you can find the audience through MyGate in staying in Pioneer Araya, okay? You can get that audience. That's the second level which is shift. The third level shift that I believe is this whole thing on personalization vis-a-vis mass. 25 to 35-year-old woman sitting in Hindi belt, one. Vis-a-vis the product. So for Britannia, we activated a campaign where with the technology, the nutritionist came and made a individual diet plan for everyone, okay? So it's technology which takes the name and says, okay, because you're diabetic, you're non-veg, this is a diet plan for you. You can have a personalized designer for you. You can have a personalized salon for you. Everything can be personalized because technology and WhatsApp enables you to do personalization. And fourth is distribution, okay? Now distribution, the movement from influencer, doing just influencer marketing to finally going the Herbalife Amway route, that is not very far. Now there are companies coming just saying that these influencers will, just like Pinduoduo in China, they'll buy and they will sell, they will promote and they'll sell as well. So the whole funnel is shifted from saying, hey, I will tell you what you want, vis-a-vis let's co-create, let's co-distribute, let's co-talk, I will talk to you one-on-one, hyper segment. That is what marketing is moving at a very fast pace. And we as marketeers will have to find those niche hyper segments and be personalized. So that's the key.
Fantastic. I know time's up, but I still want to quickly have your view, Amit and Ravi, last one. Digital, how much of hype, if it is hype and how much of it is real?
I still think it's not a hype because digital is where the latest generation is. If you see millenniums and Generation Z, both are on digital and they are totally influenced by that. They are no more reading the newspapers. So digital is the way forward. So it's not a hype. I definitely believe it's not the hype. Here where you can see your future. I think our whole marketing will be more channelized to digital. And the way you can select your audience, you can practically go and select what you want, which age group you want, which male, female, whatever you want, you can get it. So I feel digital is not a hype. It's definitely. So I am putting it very short as I know the time is up.
No,
Please,
thank
my
you.
friend,
And
your turn.
clear perspective.
Yeah. See, whenever we make any marketing strategy, we have to understand the consumer behavior, right? So last 20-25 year, we have seen a drastic change in the behavior of the customer. Like earlier, people were spending more time on the TV and newspaper. But today, if you see, everyone is present on the social media. Like if you talk about the young generation, I hardly see anyone watching TV serials or maybe reading newspaper. But we have to accept that everyone is present on the social media. And I can give you an example, like if you go 5 years back, you hardly see any video who have 100 million views. But today it has grown 1 billion. So customer behavior is changing. People are shifting towards the digitalization. Like I was looking at the Google data and they have shown up that this year revenue was almost 250 billion. So that is not this is not the hype. This thing truly exists in the market, and whenever we make any marketing strategy, we have to be in line with these changes.
No, thanks. I think good perspectives here. I wish we could have spoken more. We spoke a little more out there than here, but I guess the time was too short here. But thank you so much. I think good perspective. What I take out from here is that brand, when it comes to marketing strategy, is very, very essential, and hence the purpose bit of it. I think that's where it originates from. But the world's still changing. Digital is as real as it gets, and absolutely don't even think of anyone says it's fluffy. No, don't take it for on face value. But thank you so much, Ravi, Raghu, Prashant, Udita, Amit, and Suman for a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to all here on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, a loud round of applause will only do justice to the kind of conversations we have just tuned into. Thank you so much for joining us, all of you. We would like to hold you on stage for just a couple of more seconds because we would like to present you all with our token of appreciation and gratitude for making time and joining us here at this inaugural edition of E4M Pride of India Brand Summit. I would like to request and invite Nazia Alvi Rahman, editor for Exchange for Media, to kindly join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, warm round of applause to welcome her. Please present the memento to all our esteemed panelists for this session. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much once again to all of you for joining us here today. We are so happy to see you all. And of course, the learning continues off the stage as well. We all can catch up for one-on-one conversations and share our insights with each other. May I invite you to kindly step forward for a group photograph. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Now I would also join you all for one picture.